Of course, I'm not going to miss the opportunity to make a video about this live stream Funcom did for chapter 3, Age of War. Now, I'm going to touch on something that's kind of towards the end of the live stream. This is age 3, okay? We've had 3 ages that's been set in stone. But now we're going to have age 4, a chapter 4 coming from them because they can't get everything done that they initially promised. Oh boy. So if you haven't watched the live stream and then you do watch it, or you watch this video first and then you're like, well, this information's out of order. I took some notes. I could not be bothered with downloading the VOD and editing it. And to be honest, there's not a whole lot to talk about. But the one thing I wanted to address was I find it interesting because the one things that I remember being discussed was alliances and fatalities. They were talking about that. They were amping that stuff up. Well, they couldn't get that done. What? What do you mean you couldn't get that done? Literally, this update, chapter 3, that is coming to Conan Exiles, guess what it is? If you haven't watched it, just try to guess, because it is the most subpar thing to add to the game. They literally built a base that loads itself onto the map, and you can go raid it, pillage it, and all that stuff. You can take the fight to them. I'm literally doing air quotes with my hands right now, and it'll reset itself. Now, the video you're seeing right now is what I recorded from the beta. Do you see how big this place is? I would be terrified to build something of this size on official. When I saw this, I was very curious how many building pieces this was, because I feel like if this base existed on an official server built by a player, you could get dev wiped pretty easily. So I went to work with a construction hammer since I didn't really have the capability to use the proper mod that I wanted to figure out how many building pieces it contained. And I started demolishing everything with the construction hammer to kind of get, a basic idea of how many foundations this would allow me to build after consuming all the resources from destroying it. Upon doing this, I discovered a few things that kind of made me a little worried. I noticed that there were some black ice foundations. Maybe they used these from like an aerial view to set up like the locations of how they wanted to build it. Not exactly sure. But this one black ice foundation in particular, it literally let me destroy it over, I think, about 15 times. Which means this is a foundation meshed within a foundation multiple times. So I guess, when they're in admin mode, they're allowed to stack. But how does this happen? I could understand maybe 1 or 2, get stuck in there. But how 15? But it gets even better because as I continued on my journey of demolishing this base, I found another one, and I had to stop and go back because I was like, wait, that one is still there. And this one went on forever. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I continued destroying everything I could of this base just to see how many foundations I could actually craft after it was all gone. And as you can see, that's quite a bit. So is that our limitation for building on official servers? Is that, we can't go over that? That's it right there, because 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 building pieces is a common number for private servers. But when it comes to official servers, we really don't have a number. It would be nice to have a number. It would also be nice if, the devs, when get reports from, salty players that suck at the game and can't raid you. Those people. We've all dealt with them. It would be nice if they could come along and check our base and be like, oh, well, hey, they're under 8,000, 6,000, whatever it may be. And, if they need to do any more investigation and make sure that the clan is abiding by the terms of service that they loosely enforce, because the terms of service make no sense. I've discussed that in previous videos. If you're interested, feel free to go through that library. but it's a modest amount. You know, you could build an okay base with it. This base that they built was completely terrible. I mean, the first wall you can jump over. I mean, obviously this was rushed together. It doesn't even look that great. It's kind of ugly. But we're going to get to the rest of it. Now that we know the building pieces that you can get from it, maybe that's our limitation. But we're going to go back to this one foundation, and I was able to demolish it so many times to the point that I was able to demolish one foundation up to 45 times in the same spot, stacked 45 times. How does that happen, Funcom? How do you stack 45 foundations in the same spot? How does that happen? But now we're getting another age. So in the future, we're going to get more ages. This is also another way to bring in more revenue as well. And oh my God, like there's some cool features, right? I guess it's kind of cool. You'll have a bartender now that, you know, you can put in a bar and like little things come along, RPG elements. That's fine and all. Conan Exiles, though, it's not an RPG game. I seriously don't think they know what kind of game they actually have under their belt at this point. They have tried to take it in these weird directions. I just don't understand at this point. It's like, oh, hey, we could do this. Oh, yeah, let's do that for an update. I mean, you know, that stuff we said to the community that we were going to be bringing with, you know, Age of War. Yeah, we're not ready for that. So, hey, Chuck, can you come load in and, you know, go build something on single player, send us the file, and then we'll try to work this in. So, you know, they have something to do. So it looks like we're trying to do something. All right, thanks, bud. Like that's what it feels like to me at this point. Like this live stream was literally discussing that for the majority of the time. They literally know nothing about their own game. Like, they were talking about the battering ram, and someone asked, are you going to be able to use this for PvEC? And he said, no, only during raid hours. What? What do you mean during raid hours? You can't raid on official PvEC servers. He then had to correct himself because someone corrected him. It's like these people that are developing this don't even know their core game or their official servers and how they work. It's no surprise why you'll get dev wiped for no reason. I mean, let's be honest. At this point, they don't even know what's going on. Okay? It wouldn't even surprise me if half of these people that are working on the dev team, they probably don't even know people are getting dev wiped. And that's hilarious because they are so out of touch with their own content. They've also added some new mechanics for thralls. They want to work on thralls. It was kind of ironic because he spawned in a frost giant and the frost giant ran up to the wall and literally got shot down. It was like, wow, you know, that's great AI pathing right there. Great thing to showcase. Watching their live streams is kind of like watching a train wreck. You know, you kind of want to see something, but you're like, oh, this is Funcom. This is Conan Exiles. This isn't going to be anything amazing. And now they're giving you the ability and I think even craftables to allow thralls to stay in place so they will stay and fight. That's great. That makes them even easier to kill. That's all I can say about that. That is literally all that is going to do. They're just standing there. Bows exist. Pikes still exist. I mean, okay. Very PvE choices with that one, if you ask me. Not one that actually benefits the whole of the Conan community. There were, of course, tons of people in chat telling them to fix sky bases. Did this get acknowledged by the devs? Of course not. Of course not. You know, I understand if you don't want to explain the details of what you're going to do to try to fix, you know, exploits and cheaters. You don't want to give people enough information to try to find a way around your fixes. But could you at least acknowledge that this is a rampant issue? The cheaters, the sky bases, the mesh bases, could you at least acknowledge this, that you are working on it? I mean, that's great. You want to keep bringing out these subpar content updates, which really, to me, are lackluster. and they're just making the game easier and making the game feel weird at this point. Like the previous Purge that they revamped, it is so easy to get thralls now, and you don't even... The whole coffer system, I'm going to be working on a video about the new Purge system, because after playing around with it, I've got some things to say about it. I know I touched on it in the live stream video, but I'm going to go in depth on a video about the new Purge revamp, so we'll discuss more of that there. A comment one of them made during the live streams, if they even said something won't be behind a paywall. I thought that was funny. At least they're honest, right? They're admitting they have a paywall at this point, and they're calling it exactly what it is. It's a paywall. You can't get all this extra stuff without paying it. If it's just cosmetics and stuff like that, that's fine. But then they release, you know, spears or armor or, you know, stuff like this that is exploitable, and then everyone buys it and they don't fix it right away because they're like, well, hey, everyone's buying this product. If we fix the issue, they're going to stop buying it. And at least they realize, you know, they're at least admitting they're all about the money at this point. So that's good. Now, of course, to me personally, since I play PvP, and I'm sure many of you watching this do as well, they're adding 9 frames to the heavy spear attack, which means the heavy attack will now be slower. I mean, it should be, right? But that was kind of big news to me. So, you know, the heavy attacks, they even admitted it and said that the heavy attacks were faster than the light attacks. So they're trying to balance that out. It's like, now you're going to adjust that? Now? How long has the pike worked that way and you're now going to adjust it? I guess, you know, you're like, well, it is called the Age of War. We should probably fix some weapons. I could probably list off 5 other issues with different weapons that still have yet to be addressed. But I'm not going to, because then people will be like, what are you talking about? And then I feel like I got to explain it. And I'm like, I don't really want people to go out there and exploit these things, but they're out there. And it's like, Funcom, I know you're aware of it. I've seen people post it on the forums and stuff, but those posts always get hush hush. They said that they are working on a role spam fix. They're currently testing a fix for it. You know what? Funcom, I got you. Hire me, okay? $2,000 just for some advice. Here it is, okay? I'm just, you know, they'd never pay me. Maybe they would. You want to know how to fix the role spam? Bring back the stam out feature. You know, when someone ran out of stamina, they were grayed out and they had a delay before their stamina would regenerate and you were extremely vulnerable. Do you remember that? Do you remember that mechanic that you once had in the game that worked fine that you removed? Easy fix right there for the role spam. And it's like, it blows my mind because when they were discussing the role spam, they even said, you know, we're just still having some issues. That's not going to be rolled out anytime soon, blah, blah. And it's like, you already had a fix for it. Okay? That was the thing. You know, if you stammed out in a fight, that could mean your death right there if you were not careful. They took that away, and now they're currently testing fixes and trying to work out all the kinks. It's just like, this is when I know this is a bunch of BS. It's a lot of hot air, and people that actually buy into this nonsense, God bless you, but seriously, go back to school or something, you know, get some common sense, learn how to read people. I don't know. I don't know how to help you people, but that is the most ridiculous thing to say to the community, that you are working on a fix for something you already have a fix to, and then making it sound like it is such a complicated process that it needs more time. If you can't see right through the smoke and mirrors that they put on, then I am sorry. I do not know what kind of blinders you have on your eyeballs, but they are blinding you. They always mention, you know, how the public beta is there to get feedback. You know how many times I've used the public beta to find little things to see if they carry over, and they do, and they exist for months, if not years, and they might never get fixed. Yeah, well, That's a thing. And along with that, of course, they addressed, you know, with this new update, many bugs will come with it and we'll fix them. And I'm like, yeah, I know many bugs come along with it. What would be nice, and I'm gonna say it again, if you guys really cared about the content that you were dropping to your community and your players and maybe even future players, you would take the time to polish it prior to releasing it. And, you know, you guys have had months for this chapter. I'm sure these chapters have been talked about ages in advance. You like the ages play right there? I thought it was nice. Ages in advance to discuss this and work these out. And literally with this update, the biggest thing that you are getting, of course, you're going to get more, you know, stuff to buy, you know. So if you're into spending your money, there you go. But you're going to get a building that someone built out of materials you can use and materials that you can destroy, and it'll respawn and you can farm it. You know, test your metal type stuff here, you know, go fight the Stygians, you know, who are invading the exiled lands. Holy crap, this game is literally becoming something that it should not have been. They had a survival game. Make it into a better survival game. They're trying to turn into like these elements of RPGs, and they even admitted that, and it doesn't make sense. It's like the direction of this game. I get it. Some of your previous games, you know, were more of an RPG. But Conan Exiles is supposed to be about an exile going from nothing to something, raiding, pillaging, spawning gods, and, you know, creating havoc amongst the lands. And now we're getting like bartenders and stuff to do RPG elements, go take the fight to the Stygians. It's just... it's just nonsense to me. Like always, I want to say thank you for all of you that actually do enjoy my content, enjoy my rants, and actually see the logic behind what I'm saying. I know there's a lot of haters out there. I love responding to you. Feel free to drop some hate. If you're constructive with your criticism, I love that too. I love to have, you know, a conversation. If you want to be aggressive, you know, be you know, whatever. Tell me to... I'm not going to say that. I can't say that. Anyways, but I just don't understand how people can't see past this smoke and mirrors. It's literally what it is at this point. They are, I've said it countless times, they are literally just milking an asset that they have for as much as they can. And that's all these updates are for. They're not changing the game. They're changing the idea of the original game. You know, the original game was supposed to be like a survival game, a building sim game, you know, stuff like that. And now they're going down this path, and it's like, it just feels like they're a little confused on what they want to do with this property. It feels like they're not actually putting a lot of time and effort into it. If the best thing you're going to get is literally a man-made building in game that someone built and that spawns in. Oh, I can't wait to see the issues and bugs and yeah. So there is my 2 cents on the recent live stream from Funcom for chapter 3. Age of War, it killed the game for me. I have not been playing Conan recently. I've had the itch to kind of play. I miss raiding. I miss irritating people. People get very irritated because they're inexperienced with the game and they're like, how is this happening? They're cheating. I mean, but that's any game now. It happens in Ark and all these other games I play, but yeah. I don't know. I'm going to be working on my, you know, Purge revamp video. I kind of wanted to discuss that in detail. I kind of avoided it, but, you know, the more I mess around with the Purge system, I'm like, I gotta make a video on this because this is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. So that video will be coming out. If I don't get another video out before Thanksgiving and you are celebrating a Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for the support, and I will see you guys in the next one.